are the people at when it comes to infrastructure? Do they agree with Republicans? Well, Republicans don't want to spend any more money on infrastructure than they have to. They don't want to raise taxes. They don't conceive of infrastructure as including things like education, childcare, home care, etc. What about their voters? Big surprise, they like it.
Yep.
They are in favor of it. Yes, in poll after poll after poll, turns out that the American people do conceive of infrastructure in a big way, and they like Joe Biden's plan. 51% up to 36% support it. They support Joe Biden's original $2.3 trillion plan, even when they're told it, quote, may increase the national debt. They're quite willing to raise corporate taxes to fund it. Oh, there you go. Problem solved. They represent the people. Can we be done now? A little bit more on that. Polls show broad support for Biden's position when Americans are asked whether Congress should solely address infrastructure such as roads and bridges, or should also include other types of infrastructure such as energy, water, housing, healthcare, manufacturing, and communication systems. 51% chose the broader bill. And then this is from Politico in April when asked to what extent various expenses could be considered part of the American infrastructure, most voters agreed somewhat or strongly that childcare and caregiving could be included. A 47% plurality said the same of paid leave, pretty good. And when a Marist poll inquired, do you consider long-term health care to be part of the country's infrastructure or not, 56% of voters said they did. So
how amazing is that, right? But once again, it shows that Democrats or progressive legislation is on the side of the American public by way of general sentiment.
Yeah.
However, Democrats have failed to articulate a messaging strategy to make the case to create political fallout for those who oppose the masses in America. How does that happen? You're right on the issues, you're right on the policy, you're right on the implementation, but you're still wrong in the politics of it.
Yes.
That is a messaging disconnect, a barrier that the Democratic Party has to overcome. The Republican Party, they've mastered it. They've mastered messaging so much that Republicans have to say they believe in a big lie that they don't, only because of messaging.
I totally agree with that. I mean, look, this is the reason, Biden's been given so many accolades lately and so much praise for sort of doing these really big things, but quietly. But he's not actually getting them done. He might be proposing them, and he's like working behind the scenes. But again, we see in this sort of the way that, we talked about the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, which is falling apart. We're now looking at this infrastructure bill, which seems to be falling apart when it comes to trying to, work with Republicans, because Republicans are fundamentally not interested in working with Democrats. But the real thing is, there is an idea, Dr. Richey, there is an idea that does encapsulate all of those things: jobs, infrastructure, climate. I wonder what that idea is that young people really seem to like. They talk about it all the time. The Green New Deal. Right. It is completely there. Everything is in that package. But because Biden and centrist Democrats are so afraid of the way it's been, mislabeled as socialism and Marxism and they're playing into that narrative rather than reclaiming the narrative for themselves. And you're totally right. The vision isn't there. The politics aren't there. The popular support, AOC and Bernie Sanders being the most popular politicians, they're not out on front in this. And I don't think you can get it through without a groundswell of support from the people.
Yeah. And let me go back a little bit. And some people will criticize me for this, and that's fine. I'm here for all the smoke. Democrats were on the right trajectory until Bill Clinton came. Bill Clinton came and put brakes on the progressive wing of the Democratic Party and became a moderate of moderates. And it slowed down the progressive agenda of the Democratic Party. We have not really recovered from that. And what you see today, let's be honest, a lot of Democrats are simply left-leaning Republicans. And you see that as an expression in their international policy and the things they fight for locally. Now, they will give lip service to progressive policies, and they will say they support them, especially during a campaign, because they need the support of those who are young and ambitious and looking for transformation in America. But then when they get in office, they govern once again from the middle. rather than governing from the point of their values and policies that they echoed during the campaign. And so we're recovering from these individuals who have been the gatekeepers of the party. And that's why it's refreshing to have the ideology of a Senator Bernie Sanders, AOC, Presley, and others, because they are what the Democratic Party should be today. But because of the slowdown, we've had to play catch up, and now we're starting to actually be in these positions of power.
100% agreed. I think that, the idea that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz are the counterpoint, or they are the same as the squad, is utter BS, echoed by Meghan McCain and bad faith Republicans, who are like, oh, they're just the same and the other. And we heard this before. We heard this about Bernie. Oh, Bernie is just a left-wing Trump. No, he's not. He's not at all that. Like, he might have people who like him. He might have a message and a vision, but he's not a right wing. He is not a fascist. You know what I mean?
At all.
And so, exactly. And so that's why I think centrists misread the mark. They think, oh, we got to move to the middle. And they're playing, as we say in I guess theater or comedy, they're playing to no one. This is an empty theater. There's nobody in the front row of this seat to centrism. Thank you so much, Dr. Richey, for that. I love the way you put things.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.